Hello everybody, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 trading. This week we are discussing November 9th to the 13th. So we are the week after the election, and I personally don't believe markets are going to calm down yet and get into fluidity, but I do believe we have a little bit of directional bias that we can work with. Now just be careful though, again, because it obviously wasn't a clear-cut election. I mean, I know media and everything else is coming on saying that there was a winner, but I think it is still being contested, and as long as that is staying in the courts and there's going to be legal challenges, by no means are the markets going to stay calm. I think there's going to be, as news comes out, I think we'll see a few jumps here and there. So basically, I mean, it doesn't matter to me who won or lost. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'm in Canada, obviously. But just so you know that when you are trading, expect volatility still to come into play, because I don't believe the results are settled. And, you know, the markets, we had a very muted move. You can see the dollar. This was election day right here. We saw price come up, just sweep above the previous week's high. I believe that was, or maybe that was Monday. I thought that was Friday of last week, but that was actually Monday the 2nd. So you can see price just came just above it, and then it fell off on Wednesday. So this was a pretty muted move, especially for an election. And you can see it in the indices as well, too, if you go to S&P, NASDAQ, and all of them. Not very much movement here. And then if you scrub back, you know, to 2016, which you can see in here, sorry, excuse me, where was 2016 election? It's right in here. No, sorry, that's 2017. Right in here, guys. This was the election right there. You can see the big volatility move there. We didn't necessarily get it. Yes, we had a big push higher, but it was all one directional, and we didn't see them really run the stops in any meaningful way. So I personally believe that there's probably still something else that they're waiting to unleash, and I could be wrong. I hope I am. I hope it's just regular trading days ahead, and we can get all this mess behind us, regardless of who the winner is. You know, again, I don't know if Trump would be bullish or bearish, and versus Biden would be bullish or bearish, but we can obviously see the U.S. dollar made a break to the upside, failed back at this consolidation, and then dropped. And so I think we're going to be heading lower. What I'd like to see, so at the time of this video, again, it's a little bit earlier than what I normally get it out for on Sunday, but we can see prices just opened up. It's a couple hours open now, and so far it's pretty muted. I don't necessarily want to see them shoot back up higher into this range here. I could see that, you know, if they wanted to come back in and possibly retag off of this level here. So watch this low and this low here. I think they're pretty close to the same area. So whatever they are in your chart, the low for October the 21st and the low for November 5th. Watch those two areas. We could see a shot back up if we see any run higher this week, but I would expect that to act as some sort of resistance, and then I think we're probably going to see price ultimately run below here. Long term, I'd like to see if we could stretch down to the 90 levels. Either there's a high rate in here, that high rate there, or back to this consolidation where all these bodies of the and wick highs of these candles are. So either high 90s or low 90s would kind of be what my target is for the rest of the month. Whether or not we want to shoot down in there in a couple of days, or if they take their time and really drag it down, I don't know. But I think that's ultimately where the dollar's probably going to head. And I want to see it stay below, as I said. I don't really want to see it go back up into this consolidation range. But I say that, and just keep this in mind, folks. You know, if you look at this overall consolidation range and where it started and where it finished, you know, we are still technically in the consolidation range, right? This is all consolidation here and here. We ran down below here, came back up, stalled in here, consolidated, consolidated, consolidated. We're technically still in this consolidation. So just as a caveat to what I'm saying to you, you know, with regards to market volatility, especially going into next week, if there are legal challenges, you know, with that election, this thing could bounce around all over the place. So again, what do we do in consolidations? You buy the low of the consolidations and you sell the high. the big $1 million question is, are we done with this consolidation, and is price going to start breaking to the downside now? If, again, one last time, if we see a price run back above this blue line here, I want to see how it reacts back in. You see how we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles in there. I would like to see, if it is going to go lower, it not trade through really the middle of this consolidation range. So whatever that is on your chart, I'll just sort of eyeball it and say, you know, somewhere in and around here. I really don't want it to go back above there. If it does, then that just means we're just still back in the chop. You know, and whether it goes higher or lower from there, I don't know. But this here, I'd like to see them stay below here to open this week up. If they do go higher, I'm watching the middle of this range of this consolidation. And if we go above that, then again, we're still going to be stuck in this chop for the next foreseeable future until, again, everything's been finalized. And that could take until January when, and if there is a new president that's sworn in or signed in or however that works, I don't know. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, we are looking like we're getting pretty heavy in this consolidation range. But again, a lot of people thought the same thing down in here, and when price was down in here, right? And surprise, surprise, it, you know, jacked straight back up. So we're not technically out of the woods yet, but I do like how we have fallen off pretty strongly from last week. So we'll see what this week gives us. Again, one last time, I'd like to see them keep it below here. And if we do run above, well, we'll see how it reacts when it gets back up to 93.30 levels, okay, if it does. So EurUsd, we have a nice move here. I like how they did this last Wednesday. They just ran the lows there. Pretty much the same thing as what the dollar did. And then it was off. Wednesday was straight up. Thursday straight up. And Friday had a nice up day. And it looks like we've gapped open just a tiny little bit to start out the week. To be honest with you, I'd rather just see this thing. I mean, a gap close would be great, but I think that this area right in there would probably offer some sensitivity. Whatever the high of this is on your chart, I could see them come back down and then start running. It may have even hit it. Pretty close. I'd like to see them just come down and edge back this gap in here and then start swinging to the upside. And ultimately, target would be up here at 120s. That would be a nice swing if we could get 100 and some plus pips for the week on euro. So as I said, very similar with the dollar, you know, again, we're kind of stuck in this consolidated range here, and I'll just loosely draw this, but you can see that range there. Whoops. Get a straight line. Chart will start bouncing around on me. And that's right about the mid-range of that consolidated level here. You know, consolidated in here, obviously, and drop down, and then consolidated, drop down. So that's kind of right about the middle of the range that I'm looking at. So again, same thing as the dollar. As long as euro can stay above this level here, whatever this is on your chart, you know, ideally, I'd like to see it stay above Wednesday's high. That was the election day, the day after the election day right there, November 4th. So if euro can stay above that, then we should see continued higher prices, and I'll be targeting this high up there. But if we start dropping back in and start to go into the range of Wednesday, then again, like I say, something else is going on, and obviously the election contest challenge, I guess you could say, would obviously be pulling markets in a continued sideways pattern, which I don't want to see. I personally hope we're out of it here finally. Regardless of who wins, like I say, I'm in this to make money, not to worry about who's in power. GbpUsd actually was the leading pair for this for last week. It kind of gave you the leading edge on the indicators, if you will, you know, as to sort of tipping its hat as to, you know, what the market direction was going to be. And it was when Monday actually ran these lows. You can see that we had low here, low here. Monday of last week came down, ran that low, and then had a strong Tuesday, and then this was the mixed day on Wednesday. Obviously, that was the election day, and then Thursday straight up, and Friday we had a bit of a muted day. I'm fully expecting them, and we're just pretty much about doing it right as we speak now. You can see prices just eking above the old high in here. So same thing with euro. As long as we have a continued downward direction on the dollar, we should see euro, USD, and GBP by default start to push higher. I'd like to see if this will indicate that GBP wants to run faster and to higher highs faster than euro, USD. So I am watching that to see if we're finally through this chop here. But again, right, just keep this in mind, folks. We had a big consolidated range right in here. And we had another one. We're just starting to leave it now in here. But there is the chance that we could come back down. And so, again, GBP, my line in the sand, as long as we don't see price wanting to run, like I say, back through, right around here, I think would be a good level to watch. As long as GBP stays above, really above that Wednesday body of that candle. That's kind of what I'm driving at. I'd like to see continuation to the upside. So if you start to see this drop off, just hold off on the long ideas until it gets to this level here, and then see what we do. Do we drop back below and start consolidating again, or does it come in just to recheck and then it starts running higher again? Or does it even bother to come down there and we just start trading higher from here? But ultimately, I'm looking for higher prices going into the end of the week. So we'll see if that pans out. Unfortunately, Euro GBP, not much to talk about here to give us any directional one-sided bias on Euro or cable. It's still just slowly chopping lower. If anything, I'm predicting this range to come back down and possibly come and trade under here. I'm going to extend this out because this is obviously the next level that I'm looking at, and that's going to be the target to watch for if we want to continue down. But it's just, look at this. I mean, this is terrible. It's a very tough range to deal in Euro GBP, especially when dealing with cable and Euro USD. Aussie, again, very similar. We had to cable. We actually had the low. It was Friday's candle, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Again, very similar to cable. Set the low on the week, and then price just ran off from there. So I wasn't watching Aussie at all last week, but we saw a rebalance on Wednesday, and then price shot up higher on Thursday. Had a little bit of trouble on Friday getting anywhere, but you can see Monday, again, bit of a gap to start the weekly open. I would imagine they're probably going to come back down and fill in this range here and probably retag off of the high back in here. So I'll be watching that on Aussie. And there's really no notable news. I forgot to mention that, but you guys can check out Forex Factory for yourself. Keep in mind, Wednesday there is a bank holiday for the Euro USD, the Euro USD, for the Euro, for the Canadian banks and for the US banks. It's Remembrance Day or Veterans Day or whatever it is in your country that they call it. But that's happening on Wednesday, so probably going to be pretty stale market structure on Wednesday, probably an inside trading range just with those bank closures. And really no news at all on Tuesday, and the rest of the week is fairly straightforward, so you can check that out yourself, but I don't anticipate any major landmines, again, with the caveat being that, this whole challenge on the election doesn't open up a whole can of worms within the market, so just be very, very careful of that. By no means are we out of the woods yet. But watch for this. So anyway, as I was saying, I'm looking for higher prices on Aussie. I'd like to see if we could shoot back down into this range here and then see if we can't pop higher. I do not want to see Aussie going back into this whole range in here. So I'd basically leave it about here and say, that would be my line in the sand. I don't want it trading through the body of Wednesday's candle here. I like to say it stay above. If we can stay above this line here, then I think we should see higher prices on Aussie for the next little while and possibly get above, again, this high here, and then possibly start to trade into this range back up into here if we get some continuation to the upside on Aussie. The UsCad is really losing ground on the dollar. So we had that big rebalance. Wednesday was a big day on the Canadian dollar. It was a 200 pip range day. Rebalanced off of these lows in here in this consolidation pattern in here, and then just dropped south from there. Thursday, more of the same, and Friday eclipsed the low on Thursday just a tiny little bit. No need, I don't think, for USCAD to go higher. If it does go higher, then again, we're going to see a market reversal on US dollar and we'll see price trade higher. I was really hoping that we would have run above these highs here. And we didn't get that. I'm still going to leave this on the chart because I think anything is still up for grabs this month or even into next year. So, I mean, we could just be coming down let me go to a weekly. We could just be coming down here to sweep these lows, and then it could go straight back up again. I mean, I don't know. But I do like how heavy it is at the current time. And I think these lows in here at 129.50s are going to be in jeopardy of getting run out this week. You know, we're not too far away from that, about 70 plus pips or so. I think this could easily, when it slams below these lows here, I think it could easily shoot, 20, 30, even 50 pips below that low. So we could get a 100 pip plus run on USCAD, possibly this week. But I'm looking for this as a potential target on the downside for the week. And that's it for Forex. I don't really see anything else. Hopefully it should be business as usual this week. But like I say, just keep in mind, folks, everything's still sort of up in the air. Be careful with your trading. Definitely reduce any risk. Don't trade live for any reason. I'm not trading live with anything at this point in time, and probably still won't continue for the majority of November, especially with everything and going on right now. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you are trading, make sure you reduce your leverage by a significant amount. This is oil. So we had a nice dip on oil, and then it just price started rising again, which, so I don't, again, I'm going to, reiterate this fact on oil. There's absolutely no reason why oil would be bullish at the current moment. I don't think anything in the U.S. would affect that. But, that being said, we're still in this consolidated range. So from this high to this low, price is technically still banking around in this range. And as long as we stay in there, we're going to see more of the same. So obviously, I don't want to see crude oil come back above this high, these highs here. I'd like to see them stay below. We could see some fluctuation in and around here. But for the most part, I think that we should continue to see lower prices in oil. Especially now, if you look around the world, there's a lot of places that are going back down into lockdown for the second wave here again. I'm lucky enough to be in a part of the world where we shouldn't be seeing another lockdown, but I know there's provinces, east and west of me that are currently locked down right now. And if you're in one of those, I feel bad for you guys. Sorry. Hopefully you get out of it soon. I'm fortunate enough to be in one that is not going to lock down, and I say that now. Hopefully they won't. We're not now, but I know, like I say, a lot of other countries are, and that obviously weighs pretty heavily on the demand for crude oil. And so obviously with less demand for crude, the stockpiles continue to build up, and it should continue to push crude oil down. And as I mentioned several times before, seasonally speaking, the last quarter of the month is very, very bearish for crude oil. So I don't have any reasons for crude to go higher. I'm only looking lower. I'm looking for them to come down under this low here for the week. So we'll see how that pans out. But again, keep in mind, we're still in this overall consolidated period, a portion of price right now. So anything could happen. I'd like to see it stay below this line here, but there's nothing that says it can't shoot back up one more time. And even take out these highs here. Who knows if we get some market volatility. But we had a nice run down prior to last week, and then that election, like I say, we ran those lows and traded higher aggressively up until Thursday of last week, and then it started to fall off again. So gold's a little bit, crude oil is a little bit tough to predict right now. We're still chopping in here, so not a great range to be in. So if you can stay out of crude, I would. But like I say, I'm looking for lower prices. I want to see them come under these lows ultimately and sweep right under here. This is what I'm looking for on oil. Gold had a nice breakout last week. Just a beautiful day, or a daily range on Thursday. We saw price shoot down here on Wednesday, the day after the election, retag off the consolidation level, and then Thursday exploded to the upside. I want to see continuation higher on gold. We've got all these highs over here that we're watching for. And I think if we continue downward on the dollar, obviously gold should see higher prices. We didn't we did not come down to the level that I was looking for on the downside, so I was looking for them to sweep these lows under here. This is my downside objective, with a possibility of a longer term run back down to this consolidation level in here. We didn't get that. We started to see price wanting to run down to it, and then it just failed right back at these bodies in here, these candles, and then we saw a shot higher. So there is the possibility that they do sweep gold one more time lower, but we are starting to come into a time of year where gold is technically bullish. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see, but I do like gold higher as long as the US dollar drops. It should push people into buying gold, and obviously a lot of uncertainty and everything else in the markets. It's going to be all Bitcoin and gold, basically, I think. So that could be what's going to feed this market. I'd like to see if they want to break out above this high here, and then from there, I think we could possibly look at getting into some gold trades here to finish off the year. But we'll kind of wait and see what happens there. But I like this price structure so far. Finally, S&P, NASDAQ, and the Dow all up from last week. Very, very impressive runs. I was talking with my members all through this run down here, and I told them what my line in the sand was on every single one of them. And for the most part, every single one of these guys reacted at the appropriate level, and we saw a beautiful rebound higher. Yeah, and again, that election day, the day after the election day, really proved, just surged markets higher. So obviously, you know, they like the fact that Joe Biden could possibly get in, and as long as that fact doesn't change, we should see prices continuing to run higher on the indices. So watch for that, folks. Could be some good opportunities to come here in these markets on these indices. And then finally, I just wanted to say, because I just noticed today, look at Bitcoin. Big up move last Thursday. I don't know why Thursday was the catalyst on a lot of these markets driving it higher, but just a huge rip from 13,000 up to, whoops, excuse me, from 14,000, excuse me, up to over 15,000 in one day. I mean, very impressive movement on Bitcoin, especially when you consider, you know, all the garbage that it's gone through in here. And keep in mind, old highs right back in here. So if people continue to push into Bitcoin, we could see moves up to 20,000 and beyond. You never know. I've heard lots of analysts saying Bitcoin, they're seeing it at like 1 million or something crazy like that, which is absolutely blows my mind. But hey, anything is possible. This thing could react just like the S&P market and just go straight up. Who knows? So very cool to see that. But just be careful, guys. So that was the old high there, the old high from 2 weeks ago. If we fail to get back above the high from last week, watch out for this area here. They could come back down and retest it. So for anybody long Bitcoin, or you're thinking about getting long, just kind of watch and see what it does here this week to see if it develops into a possible retracement back down and rebalance, you know, kind of breakout retest sort of idea. We'll see if something like that develops, but keep an eye on it, because it's pretty interesting times that we're in right now. So that's all I've got. I appreciate you all watching. Please go ahead and like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and tell your friends about it. I would really appreciate that, guys. I don't charge for any of this, obviously, so you know, that's all I ask, is if you could just share this out to your network, and so it can grow a few more followers. I would really appreciate that. And to all my members, I will see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Take care. Talk to you soon.